Hello. Today's topic is unmasking deception, uniting for truth, justice, and Ethiopia's future. I am Abebe, born from Oromo and Amhara parents, seeking peace, justice, and truth for Ethiopia's future harmony. Ethiopian Hearts for Peace is committed to raising awareness about what is yet to come, not just reflecting on the past. The deceptive narratives of Ethiopia's prime minister misled many. His words promise peace, but his actions bring destruction. To understand his speeches, one must think in reverse. What he says is the opposite of what he does. The only way to defeat such deception is to unite and hold on to the truth. We also expose media mercenaries funded by the government to distort reality. Many YouTubers receiving funds through advertisements, especially property sales in Addis Ababa, twist narratives and cover up atrocities like mass killings and systematic oppression. These paid influencers appear polished and professional, but they serve only to confuse the people. Reports indicate that nearly 30,000 digital troops have been mobilized to bury the truth. Ethiopian Hearts for Peace, in conjunction with the African Hearts for Peace, is here to counter this misinformation and stand for justice. If you are a truth seeker, please join us. The journey to power for Ethiopia's prime ministers has been a complex and turbulent one, shaped by betrayal, deception, and the conquest of past actions. Meles Zenawi, the late prime minister, engineered a system of governance that sowed deep divisions within the country. His policies systematically marginalized the Amhara people while consolidating power within the Tigray People's Liberation Front, otherwise known as TPLF. He famously warned that when the time came for TPLF to relinquish power, it should never be handed to the Amhara, as the hatred that had been instilled could one day be used to destroy them. Instead, he, now dead, predicted that Oromos would be the next recipients of power, while Tigrayans would watch from afar. In 2018, this prophecy materialized when Abiy Ahmed rose to power. Initially seen as a reformer, his actions have proven to be deceitful, calculated, and ultimately destructive. While his rhetoric promotes unity, his governance has led Ethiopia into further fragmentation, fulfilling the long-term objectives of TPLF. In an ironic twist, war broke out between the TPLF and Abiy's Prosperity Party, leading to ruin in Tigray. The very people who once thrived under Zenawi's rule, controlling the military, economy, and political narrative, now face starvation and devastation. Once Tigrayan elites adorned in gold looked down upon others from their positions of privilege, today they find themselves fractured and struggling to hold on to the dream of secession. Amid this turmoil, external forces have played a decisive role. USAID, a long-standing advocate for Tigray, intervened and, under the guise of humanitarian aid, which became entangled with political and military logistics. However, Under the Trump administration, U.S. interventionist policies shifted, leading to a reduction in U.S. aid's influence. This change altered the dynamics of Ethiopia's conflict, leaving TPLF vulnerable. Abiy Ahmed, who once served under TPLF intelligence structure, turned against his former patrons. As the war escalated, he called upon the Amhara people to defend themselves against TPLF's aggression. The conflict saw unimaginable atrocities committed against Amharas, with hundreds of thousands killed and entire region ravaged. Despite being ill-equipped, Amharas fought back, capturing TPLF fighters and reclaiming stolen weapons. In another maneuver, Abiy invited Eritrean forces into the war, exploiting their long-standing enmity with TPLF. The resulting devastation in Tigray became one of the worst humanitarian crises in modern history. Yet, Abiy's betrayals did not stop there. Having used both Eritreans and Amharas to weaken TPLF, he later turned against them. He sought to disarm the very Amharas he had called upon to fight and arm themselves, and the arms they collect to be theirs, now leading to the formation of the Fano resistance movement. For the past 2 years, this movement has been engaged in fierce battles, refusing to surrender their weapons to a government that had failed to protect them. As a result, Abiy has lost control over much of the Amhara rural regions. Meanwhile, Eritrea remains firmly positioned on its borders, citing historical agreements, while TPLF continue to manipulate international narratives. Despite their claims of occupation, the global community remains largely indifferent, recognizing the brutal history of TPLF's territorial expansion. The struggle over regions such as Wolkite, Raya, and Salamt persists, with Amharas determined to retain the lands forcibly taken from them during TPLF's reign. Within Oromia, a different kind of deceit unfolds. The Oromo people, believing Abiy to be their champion, remain unaware that he is selling vast tracts of agricultural land, mining sites, and real estates to Gulf states, Chinese investors, and other foreign bidders, Addis Ababa included. While Oromos celebrate what they see as territorial expansion, they fail to recognize that their land are being privatized and their future livelihood jeopardized. The displacement, killings, and kidnappings targeting non-Oromos are carried out in their name, but the ultimate beneficiaries are not Oromos themselves. Religious extremism is also taking root in Oromia, with radical Islamist influences gaining ground alongside evangelical movements. The celebration of Gada in Addis Ababa, promoted at the expense of Ethiopia's Orthodox heritage, is not an innocent cultural revival, but a calculated move to reshape the nation's identity. Oromos are being drawn into conflicts they do not yet fully comprehend, including the Red Sea geopolitics involving Eritrea and the Afar region. Plans to merge parts of Wollo with Afar under a new regional administration are another strategic move designed to solidify Oromo dominance. Yet, when the time comes for international financiers to demand returns on their investments, Oromos will find themselves landless, and Ethiopia will suffer irreversible consequences. Now look at what is happening in Ukraine. United States finances the war. The bitter war is being fought, and United States, when regime change, Trump is asking the money to be paid back with all mineral wealth Ukraine has. For Ethiopia and Oromo, worse still, the seeds of religious extremism being planted today will grow into future chaos, with groups like Al-Shabaab and ISIS exploiting the power vacuum. Neither evangelical movements nor prosperity gospel followers will be able to counteract the rise of radical forces. In the midst of all, regular Oromos will be hurt. Abiy Ahmed will eventually leave, whether through exile or assassination. But what remains will be a country in ruin. The Oromo people must wake up before it is too late. They cannot build a lasting government on lands that are not theirs, and they cannot ignore the atrocities committed in their names. If justice is not served, retribution will be inevitable. Ethiopian Hearts for Peace advocates for lasting peace, but peace only possible if justice prevails. The Fano movement, disciplined in its conduct, has demonstrated a moral obligation by returning non-Amhara captives to their families, including Oromos. This is a testament to their commitment to ethical resistance. However, when the oppressed rise, they fight to the death, while those in power, fearing the loss of their wealth, lack the same resolve. The only legitimate force capable of securing real and tangible peace in Ethiopia is Fano. Amharas have endured decades of systematic oppression, and their struggle for dignity and justice is not merely a political battle. It is an existential fight. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: those who fail to recognize the tide of history will find themselves swept away by them. Excuse me. So please join the movement for truth and peace. Ethiopian Hearts for Peace calls upon all activists of peace, justice, and truth to stand with us. Our mission is clear: to expose deception, raise awareness, and prepare Ethiopians for what lies ahead. A great deception is unfolding before our eyes. The current Ethiopian Prime Minister not only manipulates reality through his speeches, but also funds an extensive media apparatus designed to mislead the public. Many so-called independent YouTubers and media figures are, in fact, part of this orchestrated propaganda machine. One way to identify these paid agents is through the privileges they receive: lucrative advertising deals, particularly real estate sales in Addis Ababa, and high production value in their videos. Their content is polished, their appearance carefully curated, their narratives twisted to serve the regime's interest. Even in case of horrible crimes like mass killings and sexual violence. It is believed that 30,000 digital troops have been mobilized by the government to distort the truth, suppress dissent, and confuse the Ethiopian people. Oromos especially, please wake up. You're being deceived. They flood social media with misinformation. burying reality under a mountain of fabricated stories. Remember, I am also a mixed-blooded Ethiopian. Although constitutionally unknown, I don't know where my place is in history, or I can't say this region belongs to me, but I do know I'm Ethiopian. That's personal. So we warn Ethiopians not to fall into their trap. Seek truth beyond the polished screens and scripted narratives. Ethiopian Hearts for Peace, together with African Hearts for Peace, is committed to bringing the truth to light. If you are a truth seeker, if you believe in justice, if you stand for Ethiopia's future, join us. Let us unite to expose deception and hold on to truth. For only through truth can peace and justice prevail. Thank you very much. Let us unite, speak the truth, and work towards a peaceful, just, and harmonious Ethiopia. The future depends on those who refuse to be blinded by lies. This is about unmasking deception, uniting for truth, justice, and Ethiopia's future. You don't like it, it is truth. You like it, please join.